students? Can you hear me? So I'd like to proceed today's problem. Since this is your first laboratory work, you should register the system, which is called ESP. So the main task of today is how to use ESP. So I'll show you what is today's problem. So it is related to the concept. Okay, the concept is an arrangement, but the purpose of the arrangement is the manipulation and the efficiency. Okay, so the manipulation means the methods, and the efficiency should be performed, should be achieved by a certain implementation. So this slide shows two aspects, interface and internal implementation. So we are going much deeper look of the implementation today. But before that, you have to do your own work of laboratory. Can you see these counting operations? Can you see the title? So I want to make an annotation here. As you know, the ESP system, some of you may be acquainted to this, but some of you are new to this system. It is actually a shorthand of the evaluation system of programming assignments. Okay, it is quite old system written by Prof. Joe, who is in my next door. So I just handed the ESP system at first, but it is quite complicated to use it. So I just modified with my laboratory students. So it is called an ESP. So it is a brand new improved ESP. So you have to register to this on this URL. So let's just click this URL at first. So you have to select the second one, Prof. Woo Gyun, okay? Not the first one. Then just click login, and you have to sign up with this one. You have to sign up. When you just click to register, this window shows on. So this is important, student ID, okay? And password, confirm password, and your name and your phone number just for the emergent case, okay? And your email and submit. So all of you is encouraged to register here while I am explaining the material, okay? So I'll just reshare the previous screen. So today's problem is just to get acquainted how to use C++. So there is two ways to use the C++. My preferred one is just using MSys, but there's two systems. So let me just show my blog. And actually there's three systems, which is called MinJW. This is the minimalist one. And second one is MSys. MSys is somewhat bigger than MinJW. Okay. And Cygwin, which is the whole brand whole system in Windows. POSIX standard of Unix. Okay. But this is just for compiler, GCC. MSys is just in the middle. It is not full-fledged POSIX, but some part of Unix, some part of GNU is ported here. But it is bigger than GCC. So if you are interested in MinJW, just click this one. Just click this one, MinJW. Then you can downloads here. So install manager, or just just there is another one, this one. Okay, this one, minjw get setup.exe. Okay, sorry for inconvenience. Then you have to open this. So you have to click install. So you can change the C drive or D drive if you like. Okay. So if it is okay for you, just click continue. Then it is just downloading the package list from the internet. So once you execute this, you can check which system you can use. So in that case, just click MC space and G++ mark for installation and mark for installation. Developer toolkit, mark for installation. And then you can install, okay? You can install like this. So once you have done the installation, then it is also good to download code block. So if you want to download code block, just click download the binary release. The first one, anyone will do. Once you installed minjw. If you did not install the minjw previously, you can select this one, the fourth one. Either you can use this one once if you having minjw. If it is not, you have to set up this one. Okay, so this is including minjw as a subfolder. Well, if you have wondering, I don't want anything else, but just using C++ compiler, just select this one. Okay, this one is your can be your first selection. And if you're interested MSys, you can click this one. And then you can download the executable, and you have to install GCC separately with the package manager. Okay, package manager. Then it is much like a Unix environment, but on top of Windows. Okay, so I prefer this second version, but you may prefer the first version. Okay, so in my case, I already installed MSys here, so I can share my screen. So I'm currently in the compiler folder, but in DS 2020 DS, I can have several of your files. So you may have add the CPP. You may take a look at the CPP. So this is what is listed up in your PDF file. So you have some of the input-output commands, input-output commands of C++. Okay, so cout is for output. Cin, std cin is for input. But it is sometimes tedious, this std std here. So in that case, just using namespace std, that means please include all the names from std. It is somewhat like import in Python. So once you using namespace std, you can use cin without std ... Okay, std : does not required anymore. But without this, if you don't have this, you have to use std ... cin to read a number. Okay, and std .cout to write a number. Okay, so let me show this. Let me show this in your MC screen. So if you want to just write an echo int the CPP, you just include IO stream, and in your main function, you want to read an integer int n, and you want to read it from standard C in n, and then standard C out, you want to print n. This is a valid C++ code. So just save this and G++, and you can just type, or cat, here you can use cat echo int the CPP, the same contents. So you can make it, or just G++, echo int the CPP. So it will produce a.exe. So you can just ls -l a.exe. So it is just produced. Okay, so you can execute this a.exe. It is waiting for your input. So you can type 12 and 12 is printed. But as I said before, echo int the CPP, you are tedious on this using std dot. Then in that case, just using namespace std. And then you can omit this tedious prefix. Okay, so without this, so let me just comment this out for sure. G++ echo int the CPP, echo int the CPP, it is just warning. I cannot decipher what does it mean C in and C out. Okay, so you have to echo int the CPP. So with this declaration, it is totally valid. So G++ echo int the CPP is good. A.exe, then it is okay as before. So 7 is printed. So you know that this is just for reading two integers. This has the same meaning, okay? As you know, this is a bit shift operator. This is another bit shift operator. But once this has a C in and C out, this is called an extraction operator. And this is called insertion operator. Okay, so this is for output. It is somewhat ridiculous since it is in and out, but you know that the meaning. Extraction means it is for in. Okay, so with this setting, you can use C in that A and C in that B. So this is a shorthand of these both two. Okay, this is another shorthand. This is another shorthand. C out A plus B and C out ENDL. ENDL means end line. Okay, so it is a shorthand of these two statements. But I want to count the number of operations. Okay, number of operations today. So how many number of operations here? You can count that. So I show you another color. So you can count the number of operations 1, 2. In the second case, you can count the number of operations 1, 2, 3. So you can count, if you have an OP count here, then you can increment it by 2. if you have another operation count here, you should be incremented by 3. And the total operation count should be 5. Okay? So you should modify the code to count the number of operations. That is your first laboratory work. So let's take a look of the this one. You counted the operation 2, counted the operation, and it is printed here. Okay. So I have this one in the MinGW Studio. So let me just print all the CPP. So as you can see, add a CPP is just the previous code. And I added some of the operations and add count the CPP is this one. Okay, G++ add a CPP with output add. Then you can execute add.exe. So it is waiting 2 and 3, so 10 and 20, then 30 is printed. But as you know, if I added some of add count the CPP and a.exe, so it is printing 30 and the number of operations 5. Everyone is good up to here? Okay, so I'm resharing this again. So today's problem, you have 2 Fibonacci functions. Okay, one is a recursive version. You know that the Fibonacci sequence. So for anyone who is not familiar with the Fibonacci number, I just list up some of these. You have an index 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay. The first one is just 0 and 1. And the Fibonacci number of 2, index 2, is the summation of these two. 1. 3 is the summation of these two. 2. 4, summation of these two. 3. 5, summation of these two. 5. 6, 8. 7, 13. Okay, 8, 21. Okay. So this is a sequence of Fibonacci number. So these two functions is exactly computing the Fibonacci number in 2 ways, 2 different ways. So the same is true. The result of Rfib of n should be equal to Ifib n. Okay. So let me share this with this one. Okay. So if you have a fib2.cpp, you know that it is just computing the Fibonacci number. So do you remember the Fibonacci number 8? 21. Okay, so G++ fib2.cpp, then executable is generated. So it is waiting. So Fibonacci number 5 should be 5. Okay, Fibonacci number 8 should be 21. Okay, so the result is same. But you have to modify this. You have to modify this to produce this kind of output. So your objective is produce this kind of output. So this is the number of operations for executing ifib0. This is number of operations rfib2. Okay, so I have to explain this here. So if you want to rfib0, you should count. You should assume that 0 is passed here. So this should be executed, okay? And return should be executed. So return is similar to the assignment. So it should be counted as +1. This comparison, it should be counted as +1. So it should return 2 counts, okay? How about IFIP? For IFIP, you are passing 0 here and +1 as executed. So you should count +1. For this case, you have to execute assignment and index operation. So you should count +2. For this case, you have the same assignment and index operation, count 2. For this case, you should count assignment. For this case, you should have to count the comparison, okay? So you have to assume that 0 is greater than or equal to 2? No. So you have to come here. So you have to perform the index operation, +1, and you have to return +1, okay? So you have to sum up all of this, 2, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So 9 operations should be printed. Okay? So that is the result. That is the result of the 9 and 2. So let's take a look. So let's take a look for this case where n is 2. Okay. So I'll just make another notation here. For n is 2, you may assume that n is 2 and n equals 2. Then you have to count this one, +1. And for this, +2. For this, +2. For the assignment, +1. For comparison, n is equal to 2, so +1. In that case, you have to compute this. Wow, lots of operations. Let's get it in detail. I minus 1 plus 1, and index operation +1. I minus 2 plus 1, index operation +1, plus +1, assignment +1, but index operation +1, and you should increment I +1, and you should compare it again +1, and you have to index operation +1 and return +1. So sum of these total 18. So I'll translate this in Korean. You have to modify the code. And you should count the number of operations. Okay, so here it is described that add counting variables to count the number of operations. So add counting variables, it is much like OP count. You may use it as global, but so all the valid operators, including all the valid operators, including the assignment, okay, and return, which is executed, should be counted as an assignment. Okay, so it is very simple. Number of operations plus return. Okay. But beware that return command should be counted before the return. Okay. So once it is returned, you cannot count it. Okay. So this is just a note. So many students is requesting me, so other students you may neglect it. Okay. So I'll just explain how it can be counted for if for 0 again, okay? So let me just assume that n equals 0 for IP, okay? Then for this statement, you have to be addition, add operation. So the count should be incremented by 1. For this case, you need index operation and assignment. So you should count it by 2. For this, again, index operation and assignment. This is somewhat complicated, okay? But this should be executed no matter what the value of n, okay? So it should be counted, assignment should be counted. And how about the comparison? This should be executed again, okay, the comparison. But it is not executed. Once it is failed, you just exit here. So you know that 2 and 0 is not greater than equal to 2. So you have to go here. So just count 2 for the first statement. For the last one, you have to count index operation and return. So you have to count 2. Summing this up, it is 9. So 9 is here for here. Okay, students. So this is your first experience on laboratory work. So today's main task is you have to register ESP system, okay, and just count the number of operations. That is very easy task, okay. So from now on, you will be more challenging task. So if some of you is not prepared for the environment, please prepare it before the next laboratory. Any other questions? No questions? Okay, then thank you all for joining this online lecture. Let's call it a day. Bye-bye.